Welcome, everyone. Merry Christmas Eve to some, to most around the world, or Merry NFL Christmas Eve. This is the night before the NFL Week 1 kickoff. I am your host. This is an Off the Ball Network season preview. I am your host, Mo Murphy of the Up in Flames podcast. But along with me, I got a bunch of great guys, starting with my guy, Couch Coach from the Couch Coach Live podcast. Also, head of NFL. You know, he doesn't get enough credit for being like the senior NFL guy at Off the Ball Network. But he is. He's helped put this show together. See You Sunday is almost back. For those that were rocking with us last year, See You Sunday is around the corner, so be on the lookout for that. Couch Coach, how you doing today?
Yes, I'm doing good. And once again, season greetings, Mo. It's the favorite time of the year. I wish I would have had a Christmas sweater. I got to pull out the closet. It's too far back in the closet. But once again, Merry Christmas Eve, fellas, and season greetings.
One. I got the quarterback guru, and he recorded a show earlier. I can't wait to hear it with the morning brew with Stu, my guy Stuart Brooken. They put out a list that based the best divisions based on quarterback play. And Thad, I fully agree with your list. I don't think I had a knock. I really don't think I really looked at yours. I looked at Stu and I was like, because I'm with you on the NFC West being the best. But everybody make sure you tune in to hear that. But my guy Thad in the building. Thad, what's going on, bro?
Yo, what's good, man? I'm glad to be here once again. Christmas Eve, like you said, ready to see these Cowboys. I can't say what I want to say, but get beat tomorrow. So, you know, it's a good time. Can't wait for football on Sundays. Can't beat it. Nothing like it.
Yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate part is, like, I'm not used to Dallas opening up on the Thursday night game. So, like, I typically get to enjoy – you would think I'd enjoy it a lot more, but, like, to have to open up against the defending Super Bowl champs and all the things that Tom Brady's feeling great, everybody's feeling great over there, like, this isn't something I'm looking forward to, but I'll be able to enjoy Sunday. That's the nice part about it is I can enjoy a stress-free Sunday of not watching the game. Then I got none other than, you know, I don't even know what the senior editor, the guy who's made the website really shake, got all the articles pumping, the key better, the guy who's going to win you a lot of money this year if you pay attention to all his prop bets on a weekly basis. But I got my guy Kenneth from the Breaking the Game podcast. And also, Kenneth, tell us a little bit about your debut show with Pat coming this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. So you're going to want to tune in. It's going to be at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern time. Pat and I are just going through. We're giving you the bets that we like for the upcoming Sunday slate of games. Definitely something you're going to want to check out. All the betting odds will come from Off the Ball Network's phenomenal sponsor in MyBookie. You got to go check them out and use the promo code OFFTHEBALL in all caps when you sign up. I'm a Dallas fan, but I'm wearing the Tampa jersey to ease the pain of what's about to come upon us tomorrow evening. So I'm tricking myself into talking about how great Tampa is so it doesn't hurt as bad tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, trust me. Look, I was going to wear my Dallas gear for the show, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to bring any negative energy on NFL Christmas Eve. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just wear the Miami Heat hat, keep it strictly away from football. But fellas, before we get into anything, following what Kenneth said, make sure you go to mybookie.ag using promo code OFFTHEBALL in all caps. They match 50% of your first deposit up to $1,000. A lot of Kenneth's all of Kenneth's bets coming up, him and Pat with their betting show and everything is really pulled from MyBookie. So to use us as a promo, get your bets. That's where we're getting our betting lines from anyway. So you might as well go rock with us, create an account. Great guys over there. You know, go win you some money following Off the Ball this year. But fellas, you know, let's get straight into it. The NFL season is here. We're gonna wake up tomorrow, and all we're gonna hear about is the Cowboys and Bucks game. But I don't really want to talk about that right now, unless that's one of your guys' biggest storylines. But we're going into the season. Couch Coach, I'll start with you. You know, whether it's your team, whether it's just around the league, what are some of the biggest what's the biggest storyline or storylines that you're looking forward to and really has you keyed in on the season this year?
Actually, I got three. First, can the Chiefs rebound? We also know, you know, as far as what happened in the Super Bowl, can this team rebound? Their biggest weakness was the offensive line. That, you know, pretty much now have a revamped offensive line. Can the Buccaneers repeat? They're another team that's going to be, like we said, they won the Super Bowl. Can they repeat? And then also, can the LA Rams be like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of last year and host the Super Bowl?
That's the Rams one is definitely. I think it's possible. Yeah. I've been kind of preaching that if I don't go the everybody go route of, and we'll get into that later, but I think the Rams are kind of a sleeper team, and I'm sure we'll bring them up. Thad, what are your biggest storylines? Just what's got you keyed in to the NFL season this year?
I got two little quick storylines. You know, will the Bucs repeat? There hasn't been a repeat championship since the Patriots over 15 years ago. So it's, you know, it's not that often that happens. And my second storyline is the rookie quarterbacks. I know every year we talk about the rookie quarterbacks going into the season, but I feel like there's a little bit more hype. Everybody's watching their every move. So I'm interested to see what rookie QB shine, because one of them will be bust. Not all of them will succeed. So, you know, can't wait.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of you, but Kenneth, what biggest storylines, and then we'll dive deep into some of the storylines that we picked, but just kind of what are some things that got you keyed into watching football this year?
I always like watching the rookie QB situations, but also the guys that change teams, like some of the veteran guys that are now on different teams. We're looking at Ryan Fitzpatrick in Washington with a really talented squad there. You've got Sam Darnold getting a fresh start in Carolina. We saw the Stafford for Goff deal that happened. How's Stafford going to play in that Rams offense? Is Jared Goff what we think he is, which was just a McVay system guy? So I just really like seeing some of these QBs in different situations, especially Sam Darnold, because is it Adam Gase ruined him, or is it he just can't hack it in the NFL? So I'm excited to see some of these guys on new teams.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm definitely with you guys. I focus on the rookie quarterbacks, but what makes it, I think, even more intriguing now is we know Mac Jones is the starter. We know Zach Wilson is the starter. We know Trevor Lawrence is the starter. I think Trey Lance will probably be the last person to start under the circumstance of who he's backing up. Jimmy G wins games. If San Francisco is fully healthy this year, they're going to win games whether Trey Lance was on that roster or not. I personally believe. I think this is a playoff team who could really contend to compete and play for a Super Bowl. Their defense is, you know, a top 5 to 7 defense. Their offense is going to be really good. I think they got two great weapons in Ayuk and Deebo Samuel that are real versatile in how they can be used. They got a nice 1-2 punch out the backfield in Mostert, and then obviously rookie Trey Sermon. So I'm looking at them and I'm looking at Trey Lance, and if I had to pick, like, he'd be the last guy to start. And then I'm looking at Justin Fields. And I think Kyle Shanahan, I think another thing is whenever he makes that decision, if he makes that decision this year, his job is safe regardless. Well, I look at Matt Nagy, and I think we're going to be looking at him, and like his job is on the line. Bears fans are already not rocking with the fact that he's not starting Justin Fields already. And we know preseason isn't, we know we can't hold too much weight in the preseason, but Justin Fields looked like he will be able to hold his own at the very least. I think he would do, starting day one, a better job than Andy Dalton just because he's more versatile. We know he can make every throw in the NFL. That was never a question, him coming in. Sometimes his keying on his first reads or whatever was kind of the questionable things about Justin Fields, but we also know his athleticism is probably second to none, probably the most athletic quarterback, I think, all around coming out of this draft. And so he's more versatile. The Bears could do a lot more. The offensive line isn't that good. So I can see where Matt Nagy's coming from. And, you know, if he wasn't on the hot seat, I'd be full on board with this decision. I think it was the right move not to throw Justin Fields in the fire against the Rams defense week 1. At least, like, keep him away from Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, two guys that could ruin his confidence week 1, and then adjust the situation. And maybe Andy Dalton plays terrible. But Matt Nagy, I think, is coaching for his job. So I don't think it's, does Justin Fields start? I just think it's when. I think that's the question coming out of San Diego. Coming out of Chicago is when does Justin Fields. So, Kenneth, we'll wrap it up with you. Just to answer that question, when do you expect to see Justin Fields as the starting quarterback?
I think he's going to be in there probably by week 6, because I do think that Dalton's got a little bit of time, and I know the schedule for Chicago isn't as bad as people think right out of the gate. I believe they have Detroit in the first number of weeks. So, I mean, it could also go the other way, where if Andy Dalton loses to the Detroit Lions, then, I mean, the change might need to happen then. But I do think Chicago's a good enough team to win that game. So I would pick probably around week 6 for me. I think he would have to start 1-4, maybe even 2-3, given the talent that's on this roster.
Yeah, Thad, when do you think we expect to see Justin Fields?
The ideal spot would be week 5 playing the Raiders after they play the Lions. But if Andy Dalton's 2-2 or 3-2, I don't see them pulling him out. But it would be hard to start him after, because I'm looking here. They have a stretch where they play the Packers, the Bucks, the Niners, the Steelers, the Ravens, all back to back to back. And you don't want those to be Justin Fields' first 5 games. So in a perfect world, I would say week 5 after the Detroit game. Hopefully they lose to Detroit so he can get put in there and have a little warm-up game, rest the Raiders before he faces some hell teams.
Yeah, makes sense. Couch Coach.
Yeah, I said my timeline no later than October 17th versus Green Bay. And I think it's contingent on, just like everybody was saying, where I think this team is going to be below 500 in that stretch. So, and I think Chicago Bears realize we are a playoff team. We just need to get Justin Fields out and see what we got. Almost kind of like a Tua situation last year, because you want to see what you get from him, and if you don't see what you like, you can always kind of dip back in the first round again and get a quarterback next year. So it's just smart for them, I think, at this point, no later than October 17th against Green Bay.
Yeah, and I think this is going to weigh on how much Matt Nagy loves being the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Because to be honest, after week 1, everybody, all the Bears fans are going to be waiting. After the Rams, they're going to give them the Rams game. Okay, whatever. We get it. After that, they're going to be waiting. It's going to be, give me a reason. Andy Dalton throws a pick. They're going to want him out of there. I think it's that simple. The Bears, I've just talked to some Bears fans. We be on Twitter. We see social media and Bears, Twitter. They are all in on Justin Fields. They want him to be the day 1 starter. They want to see him play with that starting lineup with Allen Robinson and Mooney and everybody else on Sunday. So I think after week 1, and even during week 1, I don't want to, but I think there's a possibility if Andy Dalton come out bad, real bad, 2 to 3 interceptions in the first half bad, and let's not say it's impossible, because the way that defensive line is going to get after it, and the best quarterback in the league is back there, and a really good secondary, two picks, the offense looks real stagnant and they're not moving. I can see Justin Fields coming in, week 1. And the thing, Matt Nagy could even be bringing him in. Hey, Andy Dalton's playing bad. I don't have intentions of starting Justin Fields next week. One of those situations where I'm bringing him in just to get him some reps in a game that's already over. But then Justin Fields could show a lot of flashes, and now we got a quarterback competition going into week 2. And so I think that speeds up the timeline. It's very possible. We've seen it happen where you put a guy in, you want to see what he's got, even in a game that kind of is over, and it gives that spark, and now the whole fans, the whole media, everybody's talking. The general managers hear that, the owners hear that. There's already pressure on Matt Nagy in the first place, and so now I think you'll be looking and you'll be like, all right, when are we pulling the trigger? When are we going to see what this kid has? Because I do think Chicago has a playoff roster. We talk about some of their weaknesses, but they still have one of the most elite pass rushers in the game. They have a good wide receiver core. I'm a fan of Allen Robinson. I think he's really good. Slightly underrated. I think David Montgomery, he has flashes of being really good. I think he just needs to work on consistency. And I know it's tough to be consistent behind that offensive line, but we've seen guys do it. I think he'll play very consistent this year. So I'm just looking at the Chicago team as a whole. And I'm like, they're ready. They're not a win now Super Bowl contender with Justin Fields, but they can make the playoffs and win a playoff game if they get the right matchup. I mean, I think the only toughest thing is they're not going to get a game at home because they're not going to win their division. But any other storylines y'all want to hit on before we kind of start giving out awards and giving credit to some rookies?
Nah, not too much else.
No.
All right, well, let's move on. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Dad, I'm going to start with you. Who are you going with? Give me we'll go around the horn first, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and then we'll swing back around defense. So who's your Offensive Rookie of the Year this year?
We talked about this months ago, and my 2 picks are the same. They're the same today. So I'm going on offense. I'm going with Najee Harris. I wanted to go with Trevor Lawrence, but Najee Harris with, quarterback like Big Ben, who people say his arm is deteriorating. It's not, but he doesn't throw the ball downfield as much as he used to. Najee Harris is going to be his best friend. He's going to get carries in the run game because they didn't run the ball last year, and Mike Tomlin wants to establish that. So they're not, everybody's not just dropping 8. And Big Ben's going to feed him the ball in the pass game as well. He's shown he's a every down back. He had some flashes in the preseason, showing, some stuff after the catch. So I think Najee Harris, I could see him having like a rookie season where he has about 1,600 or 1,700 total yards. Yeah.
Man, whoever has him in fantasy will love to hear that.
Yeah.
Couch coach, offensive rookie of the year. Who you going with?
Justin Fields, your Ohio State brethren. Yeah, and I think, as I predicted, pretty much since the beginning of the preseason, I think he's going to provide that spark for Chicago. And even though, like we said, we can't take preseason with a grain of salt, but you even looking at that first game against Miami where he provided that spark, and I think that's going to happen in the regular season. And I think Chicago is going to go on somewhat of a run. They might fall short in the playoffs. I mean, fall short of making the playoffs, but he can salvage that season. I'll put it that way. So I definitely think he's gonna get a good shot to be the offensive rookie of the year.
That's solid. My only knock for that would be like not picking Justin Fields would be like if he doesn't play until like week 7, week 8, like will he have time to do enough? And when some of these guys have been playing bad enough, like it will take if Justin Fields, because he's not the day one starter. I mean, it'll take. I honestly think it'll take like the miracle of turning that franchise all the way around of whatever position they were sitting at that time. And I just don't know if he'll do that. They might be too beat in. Matt Nagy's job might be too far gone, and I would imagine. But it's possible if the scenario where we see him in the second half of the Rams game and then he plays good and we see him from there on out. Like I could very well see that. So Ken, offensive rookie of the year.
I mean, in my article that I wrote today, I went with Trevor Lawrence. Plus 450 on my bookie, by the way, if you're looking to make some future bets on that. But I do think that that's a much improved offense in Jacksonville. I mean, obviously the concern with him is, are they going to win enough games for him to get serious consideration for it? There's a reason why when Mac Jones got named the starter that he was the one that jumped up to have the best odds. So I'm still going to roll with Trevor Lawrence. I think number 1 pick. I think that carries a little bit more with media members as well. You look at how many games Jacksonville won last year, even if they go on and win 6 or 7, it's significant improvement, and I think that would be enough for him to do it. So I'm going Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I kind of want to – I stay away from Lawrence. And what I saw in the preseason, it was no knock on Lawrence. I just think he's going to have a hard time staying upright. He made some throws. Lawrence has the talent to do it. And I think he's got enough talent around him to do it. But I'm just nervous. Like we saw it with Joe Burrow. I'm not saying that kind of freak injury that, God forbid that happens, but we saw it with Joe Burrow. We just saw him consistently play really good, but get beat. And then like that freak accident happened. And I could see a very similar situation with Trevor Lawrence, not the bad injury, but I can see him like, hey, he's playing really good, but he's getting beat up. He's taking hits he shouldn't have to take. He keeps getting, and then, he get knocked on his butt the right time and like a concussion, he misses a couple weeks, or even little minor injuries here and there, little shoulder, and now I got a stinger that's going to aggravate me for a couple weeks. So I could even see Trevor Lawrence having like little minor, I guess you could say he'd be playing hurt, not injured, because I believe if you're injured, you don't play, but playing through, being hurt, a hurt shoulder, a hurt back for a little bit. Like I think that's very possible just because I don't know if that offensive line is going to be able to keep him upright. For me, my offensive rookie of the year, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go Zach Wilson. I look at the weapons. They got some weapons. He's gonna be protected. His backside is gonna be protected on that offensive line for the Jets. They've invested in some weapons. Crazy because I look at what they've done for Zach Wilson, and I'm like, it never even seems like they ever kind of put this kind of effort in for Sam Darnold. Like they draft him a receiver. They go spend some money on another one. Like they have Jamison Crowder again. Obviously, he's on the COVID list right now, but he'll return. But like I said, they drafted Elijah Moore, who's like a sleeper wide receiver coming out of the draft. Like there were some people who were very, very high on him. But end up sneaking and being able to get him, being able to get Corey Davis. Yes, they did let go of Robbie Anderson. They didn't have him last year either, but Like, yeah, they let go of Robbie Anderson, but I just see like they're putting some help around him. So I'm looking at Zach Wilson, his arm talent. He's got the league talking. His arm talent. I think he's gonna make some throws that wow some people. Some off-balance throws. I think Patrick Mahomes has everybody's head gone as far as real arm talent and what's exciting and what's not and what you want from a quarterback. And I think the Jets will be exciting. Like, I think they're a bad team and they're not going to win but a few games. But, like, they might be in some games that they have no business being in, and Zach Wilson will make some plays. You know, they do play the Patriots. All eyes are on the Patriots. They will play the Bills twice. Like, you know, there's some quality teams in their own division that they're going to play. That's 6 games right there. And I mean, who's to say they don't knock off a Dolphins with an incredible Zach Wilson performance? Like, I think he's going to have 1 or 2 of those incredible performances. I don't think the Jets go 0-17, or like 1-16 or 2-15. I think they win about 4 or 5 games. And I think it really comes down to what Zach Wilson does on the field, and I think he's going to wow some people. I would go with Mac Jones just because I think the New England Patriots are going to be the most successful team out of all these rookies, so I would imagine that I'd go with Mac Jones because of that. But when I just look at true stats and stuff, I think I would go with Zach Wilson. But entering the building is the pod father himself, the guy who's second to none. When he speaks, you listen. My guy, Jeff Hunt, is in the building. Jeff, what's going on, bro?
Gentlemen, it's good to be here. I didn't mean to interrupt. You guys are doing a great job. I'll jump in on the next segment or whatever. I'm not exactly sure where you're at. I think you were on Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, so I actually give you the floor. We're not deep into it. Biggest storylines in Offensive Rookie of the Year. So just, in a short brief, what's got you intrigued in watching the NFL, and then give us your Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Storylines, it's quarterbacks, whether it's quarterbacks in a new place, whether it's quarterbacks coming back from injury like Dak Prescott, whether it's, Fitzpatrick going to a division winner, whether it's the rookie quarterbacks, how soon does Fields get in, how good is Trevor Lawrence? Mahomes, is this the revenge tour? Is 40-plus-year-old Brady, can he run it back? I mean, it is – Josh Allen, have we all been fooled? Or if he takes the next step, does he supplant Mahomes as the best quarterback in the league? Like, it's just quarterback driven, storylines all year long. But that's just how the league is set up now. It's hard to deny it, as far as that goes. So that's what everybody's watching, outside of just, and it's a 17-game season. We can't overlook that. That's the first, change in a long time in the NFL. One more game, how does it affect, the overall season, things like that, with the shortened preseason, just that. But yeah, once again, it's quarterbacks. We know that.
Yeah. I mean, that pretty much tends to be like the storyline of, and like you said, we brought it up and we all referred to, of all the storylines, like we came back to quarterbacks. Kenneth touched on some of the quarterbacks in new places. The rookie quarterbacks Thad talked about, Couch Coach and myself also said the same thing. So Offensive Rookie of the Year, who do you have? And I think this comes down, this is another quarterback award for the most part. Thad's going with Najee Harris. So if, you try to get your gears grinding early, he picked a running back, Jeff, but this typically tends to be a quarterback award. So who are you going with Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Man, I want to go a different direction, but I think it's going to be Trevor Lawrence, just based on the fact that they're giving the kid the ball day one, and they're going to let him go, and so his stats are going to look pretty good, and if he makes it through the season just based on that with a subpar team, they're going to give it to him. I honestly think it's typically a receiver, somebody who's the most impactful rookie, but I won't pretend that I can go through every team and know like who's that surprise rookie in camp that is going to get more, playing time than everyone else. But the safe bet's Trevor Lawrence, just because he's going to get the most snaps. I think Wilson is just a little more under duress. I don't know if he's quite as ready. This just at the beginning of the season. By the end of the season, Wilson and Lawrence may be tied. I think Jones is might be too much pressure as to where they're going to try and win. So they're going to take the ball out of his hands. So he's just not going to get the opportunity to just put up numbers like Lawrence is and losses.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I went Zach Wilson, and I think it's just like, you know, you said something the other day that stuck, and we were talking about college quarterbacks. But when you brought up Malik Willis, and you're like, all the NFL, he's getting the buzz. They're falling in love with him. And so I'm looking at Zach Wilson is kind of getting the most buzz coming into week one as far as how people are falling in love with him and his arm talent. And he makes these off-balance throws, and he's been fairly impressive in the preseason. People like Zach Wilson has really been the focus. I think they wanted to not make Trevor Lawrence the obvious star and give that spotlight to somebody else, but it seems like it's been Zach Wilson. Obviously, we hear like Trey Lance and Justin Fields' name in the when are they going to start discussion? What's the plan with them moving forward? But I think with having seen Trevor Lawrence and having seen Zach Wilson play and even Mac Jones, I just think Zach Wilson, he's getting a lot of buzz. So I think it's more going to be you're going to have to prove a lot of these people wrong as opposed to proving them right because people are very high on him. So you might have to make the people who are praising him look bad as opposed to trying to prove everybody right and like, oh, he's bad or whatever. So I do think that he has an advantage there, and he got some weapons. So that the Jets aren't all bad like everybody thinks, but they are bad. They're really bad, but they're not all bad. There is some promise there. There's some decent weapons that like a rookie quarterback is okay with because the Jags aren't all bad like everybody thinks either. They got some decent weapons. If I'm a rookie quarterback, I'm not upset with the weapons I'm throwing to. Some veteran guys, some guys who've had some big games, big seasons. So I see there. So Jeff, we'll even start back with you. I know who you're gonna pick. But defensive rookie of the year, Jeff, we'll start with you and go back around. Who are you going with defensive rookie of the year?
I was sticking with my guy, Micah Parsons. I said he was the best pick in the draft. I stand by it. I just finished a show, our 5th episode with AB about Hard Knocks, Dallas Cowboys. He came off well in the show. The momentum is real. He's definitely a starter on the team. I think to me, it's Micah Parsons and a runaway.
Couch coach.
Mine's going to be Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the Cleveland Browns sensation linebacker. I think he's just a fit. He's one of those ones that we talked about even pre-draft where he's a plug-and-play guy, especially I think he went to the great system in Cleveland. He'll just be just a cog in their offense. He'll just be the multifaceted guy they need on it. Probably one of the most dynamic guys on the defense besides Myles Garrett. But I definitely think he's going to be a guy that's going to definitely pay huge dividends for this Cleveland Browns team.
Yeah, and everybody fell in love with JOK. We all wondered, on draft night, why he fell to where he fell to. Obviously, there were some health issues. He's cleared. So I think JOK, but even to Jeff's point, I think Michael Parsons is the guy that's really getting that buzz. Obviously, Hard Knocks, he's the rookie we've seen more than anybody. Even, Kelvin Joseph has been a guy everybody's got to see and hear his name through Hard Knocks. But I think Michael Parsons is probably, I think he's a safe bet. And he's getting the spotlight. He's to me, the Zach Wilson going in is everybody expects him to be the best, until he gives them a reason not to. And I'm not sure that he will with the responsibility that he's going to have on a bad Dallas Cowboys defense this year. I think he is going to be the little bit of light shed in darkness on the Cowboys defense. Thad, who you going with?
At first, I was going to rock with Micah Parsons, but I kind of changed my mind a little bit. I still think he's going to be great, but I'm going with Jamin Davis, the middle backer for the football team. He's a sideline-to-sideline guy. He's shown some flashes in some of the preseason games I watched. And, I'm just going out on a limb here. I think he can play. He's a big dude, running a 4-4 as a middle linebacker, so he's sideline to sideline. And I feel like in that defense, Ron Rivera, as a former backer, will set him up to make a lot of plays.
That's a guy not a lot of people are talking about. That'll be somebody who's going to make a name on a really good defense. So I could see that happening because names pop on really good teams. And so JOK being on the Browns, Davis being on Washington, we're talking about playoff teams, playoff caliber teams that make some noise you'll start paying attention to late in the season. And so I think that does matter, even especially on the defensive side of the ball when we start handing out awards, because it's not going to be who has the best statistical season. Sometimes whose name holds the most weight overrides anything anybody did on the field. Kenneth, who do you think who you rocking with defensive rookie of the year?
I agree with what Jeff said. Like, I do think that it is Micah Parsons' award to lose. I mean, betting odds have him the favorite. He's plus 400 to win it. But I do think if you were looking for a bit more of an outside guy that could have an impact on a good team, not necessarily a great defense, Zaven Collins in Arizona. I think he's a guy that's going to make an impact right away on that defense. They've got some playmakers in Budda Baker. They did bring in J.J. Watt, but I think linebacker, it's pretty open in Arizona for him. So I really like Collins at plus 1,200 as far as the betting side.
Yeah, that's solid. So I feel like Michael Parsons is I wouldn't be surprised if he runs away with it. But I think if there's a guy that makes it close, I think it's the guy who comes from an NFL name. And I'm going to go with Patrick Surtain. You guys know J.C. Horn was my guy at corner coming into the draft, but buzz matters, and Patrick Surtain is getting more buzz on a better defense, and I think that's going to matter. I think he's going to have a bigger opportunity to make a lot of plays because of some of the other playmakers around him are going to force bad throws his way. I think he's going to finish with about 4 or 5 interceptions this year, which might be some people consider it a lot for a rookie corner. But I do think Patrick Surtain, I think in the long haul, J.C. Horn is going to be the better corner. But to win an award, I just think Surtain, he's cut from the cloth. He's coming from Alabama. Like, he has everything you want in a defensive rookie. You're a guy whose name can win an award, and everybody can go to bed and sleep at night and not argue it that much. And so playing on a really defense with guys who are going to create some plays and some opportunities for him to make some plays, I would say it's Michael Parsons one, and I would go with Surtain too. But I wouldn't be if it's not Parsons. I think it will be Surtain, just because, like I said, he's getting it. We know what his dad was when he was in the NFL. He's coming from Alabama and the Nick Saban defense. Like, we know they adapt to the NFL very well, Alabama defenders. So I don't think he'll have a hard time making an adjustment. I think it'll be a fairly easy adjustment for him, and I think he could benefit from that. Especially if the Cowboys are just all bad. Like, there is a possibility, no matter how good Michael Parsons is, he's so all bad they refuse to allow anything coming from the Cowboys win a type of award. And I think that could be something that could be real. It's possible. Not saying that they would be hating, but people would hate to see the Cowboys win an award. I personally think so. I mean, I might even hate it, because especially if we suck. So I want to move on from the rookies and talk about the veterans. So we're going to talk Offensive Player of the Year for the NFL. You know, a non-rookie award, the guys who are going to shine the brightest on the offensive end. Kenneth, we'll start with you. Who are you rocking with your Offensive Player of the Year?
I mean, this is a guy that I think could even win Comeback Player of the Year if he's winning this award as well, and Christian McCaffrey. I just look at that Carolina team, and I think Sam Darnold being there, we know that he likes to dump it off. Like, we saw that with the Jets, and no better guy to do that with than Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be a major part of that offense. And when you've got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, it really opens things up for you. So I think Christian McCaffrey is going to have a bounce back year. We saw a couple years ago he was a cheat code in the NFL with just the way he can receive. He can punch it in at the goal line. He can do it all. So I would go Christian McCaffrey, because I think Carolina is going to be good enough to give him the chance to do it.
Solid pick, Kenneth. I feel like that's you went the obvious pick there. He probably has the best odds to win Offensive Player of the Year. You know, you'd be all.
Can you win Offensive Player of the Year off 2 or 3 games played? I'm just asking for a friend. Asking for a friend.
Jeff running back.
Hey, Thad. So who you going with? Who's your Offensive Player of the Year?
I'm sorry, Jeff. I don't want to be that guy, but I got to rock with Kenneth. That was who I had. You know, Christian McCaffrey, I think people don't pay attention to his production. Like Kenneth said, Sam Darnold likes to dump the ball down. Christian McCaffrey is the best receiving back in the league. Him and Alvin Kamara are close, but I think he's better. He can really do it all. In 2019, he had 1,000 yards receiving and rushing, 100 catches in back-to-back years. What running back have you seen do stuff like that? And with Sam Darnold there, I know they have weapons on the outside, but he's gonna feed him the ball. I could see another season like that. And just with him coming back as a running back, you know, those years matter. And basically last year was kind of like a year for his body to rest. So I feel like he's gonna hit the ground running and have one of those crazy seasons. I wouldn't be surprised if he had 1,000 yards receiving and rushing again. I know that's not too likely, but with CMC, I think anything can happen.
I mean, I don't think it's unlikely. Jeff, offensive player of the year, who you going with?
I'm going with Josh Allen. This is you'll see it's coming up. I think it's just the Josh Allen year. If he just even duplicates what he did last year, if he takes a slight step up, which I think he will, their schedule is really favorable to him this year, to where he could just really shoot for the stars. And it's gonna, I know they're going to keep saying it, but we are going to be skewed by the 17 games. And if you add, 300 more yards and 2 more touchdowns onto the season, it's going to be inflated, just like CMC. I mean, if he plays 17 games, in all honesty, he's going to set records that we haven't seen if he's healthy. So I'm going with Allen. I just think this is his year and his team's year.
Yeah, and I think with offensive player of the year, the one thing I think it should be a non-quarterback award. And the reason that is because, I feel like MVP is such a quarterback award. Who's the best quarterback on the best team or one of the top 3 teams? So I do think, offensive player of the year, I think quarterbacks should be excluded, and because it's not very often. You have to do some off the wall stuff and hope that there's not a quarterback doing it for anybody else other than a quarterback to win MVP. I mean, so that's my only thing. But I do agree with you, Jeff, based on what it's under. I can see Josh Allen not winning MVP, but winning Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay, I'll give you a quick non-quarterback submission that I really like. This guy could have a huge year. I think Mike Evans down in Tampa Bay could put together one of those years with Tom Brady like Moss did in 2007.
I got a question though, really quick, before you guys move on. Why do you think that with all those weapons, how is Brady going to spread the ball around? Because OJ Howard's coming back, AB's healthier. It's just going to be rough for him to put up crazy numbers with all those.
I do agree, but I think that he just get it in chunks. I think his just yards per catch will be huge. His touchdowns will be huge, but he may only get, I don't even know what would be a right number now in today's NFL, 75 receptions. But I think that if he gets 75 receptions, 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns, and it just looks great, that's kind of, I guess the wow factor is what I'm going for. But you're totally right. If Brady can do whatever he wants down there with this offense, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Brady can look whatever direction he wants and find a guy that he almost could guarantee has the will and the ability to get open. So I do think that's a little tough, but I don't disagree. I think Mike Evans, and I think it could be one of those, if he does have one of those years that Jeff is saying, he's starting to become a guy that gets talked about a lot for not getting enough love. He deserves more love.
Yeah, that's another thing. I could see it being one of those. Exactly. I could just see the whole
his credit and storylines, because he's the first receiver.
He's had 1,000 yards every season.
Every season of the start of his career or whatever. He's a veteran now, but since the start of his career, he's had 1,000 yards every year, and so it's starting to become you talk about top 5 to 7 wide receivers. He never gets brought up, really never mentioned. So if he does have a big year like that, it could be good enough to even finally give him his credit, put him on the map. Couch Coach, Offensive Player of the Year, who you going with?
Actually, the same thing with Jeff. Well, I got a quarterback who I think potentially could be an MVP, but the only reason why I don't have him as MVP because I think the team's only going to win 9 games, and that's Kyler Murray. I think if they was to win 12 or 11, I would put him in the MVP. But I got them winning 9 games and slightly outside the playoff for the NFC. He's another guy just dynamic. I'm just very curious of now teaming up with, obviously with D-Hop once again the second year around. And then also with AJ Green is there as well. James Conner. That weaponry that he has there and his health. And that's the thing too, where if he can stay healthy, because honestly, this team would have made the playoffs, honestly, down the stretch if he would have if he would have stayed healthy. So yeah, and I think he's just dynamic. He beat you in multiple ways. Obviously, as a Washington football guy, he beat us in a multitude of ways when he played us in week 2 of last season. So I definitely had a full front row seat to that action.
Yeah, I definitely could see it. So I have 2. I'm gonna go quarterback route and non-quarterback route also. Yeah. I'm going to go non-quarterback first before I take the pushback on where I go with this. So non-quarterback, I'm going with Devontae Adams. I I really think he deserved Offensive Player of the Year last year. If you really look at what he did, he had 100 yards less than Stephon Diggs, but he also had 18 touchdowns. The man had 18 touchdowns last year. And so I remember having the argument with Steven about who had the better season. And it was like, all right, he had 100 yards less, but he had like 4 more touchdowns than Stephon Diggs. Give me the guy with 100 less yards and 4 more times that put, 28 more points. Essentially, I think Davante Adams is going to have another huge year. I think Green Bay is going to be really good. I think this is like the last dance for Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers in a Green Bay uniform. I don't think this is the last dance with them together. I do think they may be leaving. If they leave Green Bay, I think they may go together. The interests of teams that we've heard are interested in Davante Adams are similar. The Raiders, the Broncos, the interests of teams. We're hearing that Aaron Rodgers would be kind of entertaining going out west, and the Raiders and Broncos got brought up. So I think they love each other, and I think they would be interested. Adams' whole outlook on the season prior to Aaron Rodgers committing to play was like I don't even, he wasn't loving it. Now it's a different type of Davante Adams. So I think they're primed to have another big year. I think Adams will put up close to the same numbers, and I think he'll actually get Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick. He's it's crazy. He's one of these underrated receivers that everybody knows is awesome. Like it's so weird. Like when you go back and watch his film, it's like you can't guard him. Like he's absolutely just unguardable. He's just really got the whole game down. The only thing is, it's another one of those situations to where if they are successful, as you're implying, then he's also might not get the touches. Kind of what Thad was, referring to with Evans is like the success may actually hinder him. But I love the pick, and I remember the argument last year. You and Steven were heated about that for weeks, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, because that was the touch, like 18 touchdowns, and we're saying Stephon Diggs had the better year. What? Because we weren't expecting Diggs, like he outdid expectations, but like Davante Adams hadn't been healthy in 2 years, so we really hadn't saw what that kind of season. So, and like I said, when you got 4 more touchdowns, and we're talking about 100 more yards, but I got 4 more touchdowns, like I can't really argue that. So now I'm about to stir the pot with a realistic possibility. My Offensive Player of the Year, if I go quarterback, I'm going Dak Prescott. I'm sorry, it's a homer pick, but how can you not? Like, what you saw from Dak Prescott last year, yes, the Dallas Cowboys still were not winning. But essentially, with what we saw from Dak Prescott last year, they make the playoffs. Like, they win the division with what we saw from Dak Prescott last year had he not got hurt. We can talk about all the other injuries. Had Dak been the one guy that didn't get hurt last year, we went. You can't tell me Dak is not +2 in the win column over Andy Dalton. Like, that's just what I'm getting at. Forget what every other team did. You can't tell me a 6-10 team with Andy Dalton doesn't go 8-8. Like, Dak has to be +2 wins over Andy Dalton. I personally believe that he was on pace to break over 5,000 yards last year, to have 3,000-yard receivers last year in an offense. He was on pace to have a high-power offense. So I understand we don't know how healthy he is. We're hoping. But I think if Dallas is good, it's because Dak Prescott is playing really well and playing kind of how he left off prior to his broken ankle. So I think he's a dark horse for me for Offensive Player of the Year. I don't think he'll hit the MVP discussion because I don't think Dallas will be good enough for MVP. Like, I mean, to predict Dak to win the MVP, I mean, I'd have to project 12-5 record, 13-4. Like that's what would put him in the MVP conversation. But I think they go 10-7. So I think at about 10-7, he'll play great enough offensively that he can win that Offensive Player of the Year. And I think Dak really bounces back. Whether it turns out to we have the most high-powered offense and we're not the best team in the NFL, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is what Dak did prior to injury and the same weapons he has, we expect CeeDee Lamb to take a jump. Amari Cooper is really feeling great about himself, and he feels like he's the best wide receiver. And he also acknowledged that he hasn't proved it yet. He said, I am the best wide receiver in the league, I think, but I also haven't proved it yet. So he feels like he got to go out there to prove. Michael Gallup is in a contract year, and we just paid Dak $40 million. I know this is supposed to be Zeke's bounce back year, but I think Zeke makes the most of his touches, but you don't pay a quarterback $40 million to turn around and hand it to his running back 30 times a game. So I think Zeke just bounces back with quality touches. Every time he touches the ball, he does something. But I think Dak being an Offensive Player of the Year is not out of the realm of possibilities. So kill me.
Yeah, I don't got too much to say. Jeff says it all. I think Jeff thinks you're crazy. I don't know.
I don't think he's crazy. I mean, he is right about it. He admitted it's a production award, not how well your team does award. So it's very possible that he puts up. I mean, honestly, somebody might put up 6,000 yards this year, guys. One more game, I'm telling you, like it's somebody might have a 6,000 yard season. And Dak was on pace for like 8,500 last year at one point or something crazy like that. So, and he's all, he's likable. He's the part, he's the brand. So there's no argument with that. It's an arbitrary award. So I got no argument against it for sure.
Yeah. And I think with it's a storyline award, him coming back off an injury. If he plays, like if he's back, like he never left and goes on pace, like because he was on pace, it was like 5,800 yards or something, based on what he had did the first 6 games. So, like, yeah, do we expect him to keep up that pace? No, but, I mean, even a slight drop-off puts him at 5,300 yards last year, even a slight drop-off of the pace he was on. And like I said, we expect the wide receiver core to be one of the top 5 to 6 wide receiver groups in the NFL. So, and like I said, Michael Gallup on a contract year, I think matters when you talk about adding weapons, because I think you get a higher version of Michael Gallup. I think Amari Cooper is trying to prove his worth as far as that contract he got. And that sometimes guys get that money and you never see the same production, but then sometimes guys can't kind of stand how they're viewed. And I think you're seeing that from Amari Cooper. He's actually talking. Amari Cooper never talks. He never says anything. I never thought I'd hear Amari Cooper ever say that he feels like he's the best wide receiver. Not because I don't know whether he thinks that or not. Just Cooper don't talk.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, so I feel like he feels something to prove.
There's no way. I mean, he's really good. I like Amari Cooper a lot, but he doesn't think that. He's just like I said. He's watched Devontae Adams play. He's watched these other guys play. I mean, he doesn't. He's really good though.
He's got the confidence.
Oh no, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for saying it. That's two different stories. I think I'm the best. I think I'm the best podcaster in the world, and I'm like 5th on this panel. But
no.
But talks, you listen.
But what I'm saying is, I totally understand him saying it. I'm on board with this Dallas offense, and then the defenses, we'll see. So Dak's got a chance, but a lot of quarterbacks, and there's some good situations out there for guys to have some really good seasons.
Yeah. So defensive player of the year. Oh, Couch Coach, you got anything?
Wait, I'm saying that's Trayvon Diggs' son's favorite quarterback, so you can't go wrong.
Patrick Mahomes.
He got to play catch with Patrick Mahomes. So
I loved it.
Defensive player of the year. I want to swing the defensive player of the year. Kenneth, we'll start with you. Who you rocking with for your defensive player of the year?
So before you flame me for apparently picking the favorite again, Christian McCaffrey actually had the second best odds because Derrick Henry is the best odds of winning Offensive Player of the Year. The guy that I'm going with has the 4th best odds of winning Defensive Player of the Year. That's TJ Watt. I should clarify there. Completely different teams and players. But
Jeff,
don't even get me started on TJ Watt.
I knew Jeff was coming on, so I figured that would be a great one to.
Because he just cares more. He just cares more.
Yeah, he just cares more, right? No, when you look at who they have slated ahead of them, they're really thinking that either Myles Garrett or Chase Young's going to take the next step this year. Obviously, Aaron Donald being there, that he won the award last year, but I really do like TJ Watt because I think what actually hurt his case last year was that Pittsburgh's offense was rolling for so long throughout the year through Claypool and that. And yes, the defense was good, but when you win, 11 straight games or 10 straight games, whatever it was that they won in a row, I think it hurts your value a bit because they're also looking at how great of an offense you are. I don't think that's going to be a great offense this year. And I think if Pittsburgh is really going to make a run at a playoff spot, they're really going to need TJ Watt to have a career year. So I'm leaning TJ for Defensive Player of the Year.
Not a bad pick. Before we move on, got my guy JP. The franchise is in the building. JP, what's going on, bro?
Man, I couldn't miss it, man. Just got done with the NBA draft, and we got the NFL coming up. Oh, I can't wait till this weekend. Oh, my God.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll move on. Thad, Defensive Player of the Year.
Couch Coach, I'm trying to make you proud today. I got my guy Chase Young. He showed a lot of flashes towards the end of the season, all season, but towards the end of the season, he came on and showed why he was the number 2 overall pick. And I think he'll just ride that momentum into this season. I think he'll dominate. Like, I see a 15-sack type season. And when him and Sweat on both edges, and then they got Ioannidis, Payne, Jonathan Allen, you can't really double team anybody. So he's going to eat a lot of those tackles in those one-on-one matchups. And I just see him having one of those big breakout years. And like I said, again, it always matters who you have as your coach. Ron Rivera is a defensive guy, and Jack Del Rio is their D coordinator, if I'm not mistaken. So he's gonna scheme those guys, for those one-on-one matchups and stuff like that. So I see a lot of success coming his way in 2021.
And he's going to get a lot of splash play chances too, which really, flash. He plays in a division with some pretty fairly stationary quarterbacks. He knows where the target's going to be. He's that he's going to be able to swipe and get those strip sacks, which everybody loves. So yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah, couch.
And it's funny, like you said, you don't want to be lazy when you do these type of predictions. We all know it's probably it's I feel like it's a lifetime achievement for Aaron Donald to get this award. But the dark horse, you said Chase Young. I said Montez Sweat as the dark horse. I think he's going to be the one that's going to get because I actually had him having 15 sacks this year. So I look at that. He had almost 10 sacks last year. So now just imagine one extra year. And then also just a simple fact of you look at, like you said, are you going to double team if you do double team, who you going to, you can't. So it's going to be whoever gets to the quarterback first. It's almost like meet me at the quarterback. It's either going to be Montez going to be one end or Chase on the other. So I got Montez Sweat.
What a homer. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, because I want to do Aaron Donald, but it's lazy to say Aaron Donald. But in all likelihood, it's probably going to happen again.
I mean, it's right. Yeah, you would say it's lazy, but I mean, when it comes to defense, it's a little different.
Yeah, not right.
When it comes to defensive player of the year, a little different. Like offense, like going and it's not that CMC is lazy, but like when it's offense, like there's a lot of different aspects of playmakers and what we respect as far as receivers or running backs or even knowing that quarterbacks can win that award. So I think it's a little bit there's a wider variety. Well, like defense, you're kind of keying on like one or two guys at each position, and then you're keying it down to like Aaron Donald is the most dominant defensive player in the game right now. Like, right. When it's all said and done, he's an all-time great. When we talk about what he's done on the field, so I do think like it's not lazy; it's just the truth. Look at Aaron; it's just the truth.
Yeah, it's like
Jeff, who you going with defensive player of the year?
Well, I'm not going quite the lazy route, but I'm taking a surefire bet. I really think it's going to be Jalen Ramsey because I think in my prediction, I think that his team is going to score a few more points, so the other team's going to throw a little bit more. So there might be a couple more interceptions. He can get some strip sacks. He's a physical guy, and I just think the focus is on him. Like coming out of the season, like all the heat was on. Man, Ramsey's the best cornerback, shutdown cornerback, and just on and on and on and on. And so I think that if he lives up to it, it's part PR and part getting the job done. So I'm going with Ramsey this year.
Yeah, that's a solid pick. That he'd be on my radar. I don't know if I've voiced it enough how much I'm in love with Jalen Ramsey as a cornerback and how great I think he is. I think Jalen Ramsey is an all-time great corner, and I think when his career is said and done, he's going to be in that conversation with Dion, Revis, and whoever else you want to throw in, Champ Bailey. I think he's earned so far that keep to where his trajectory is he's going to be in that category. But JP, defensive player of the year.
I'm thinking Aaron Donald, and I'm not going to be lazy here. I think he might win it again. I think he'll probably be on a mission because the Rams is going to be one of those teams that you got to watch out for that could possibly make a good Super Bowl one. I love the Jalen Ramsey pick. I love the TJ Watt pick, Montez Sweat, Chase Young. But I think Aaron Donald, he's just got that lock into for that defensive player of the year, the best defensive player in the game today. I might throw Myles Garrett maybe, if the Cleveland Browns defense do really, really well this year with him and Clowney on both sides. So, but Aaron Donald might take it again this year.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's not lazy picking Aaron Donald. That is if we would have unanimously said Aaron Donald, nobody would sit here and say, "Oh, those guys at the network are crazy for all agreeing that Aaron Donald could be the defensive player of the year. So for me, I'm going. I wouldn't say off the rail, but I'm going to say Devin White for Buccaneers. And it was him or Ramsey. And because Jeff took Ramsey, like I was cool with either one, but because Jeff did take Ramsey,
Dad took Chase Young.
He did, but I didn't think like I wouldn't have went with Chase Young. I probably would have, even if I would have fully believed that in my mind, I probably would never say that because he's a former Ohio State player. But I think Devin White has a real chance of being defensive player of the year. I look at the buzz he's coming off of last year. That man he made a name for himself. He's here to stay. Like he's a top 5 linebacker going into this season. I think easily based on what he did, he's a household name now. We saw him play great in the Super Bowl, in the playoffs as a whole. So now we're looking to improve on that. Typically when guys hit where he hits, they improve on that, and then they keep up that kind of play consistently. And I think this is going to be one of the best defenses in the NFL. They returned all starters. All eyes are going to be on the Bucs all year. So when you really think about that, like you're going to hear about the Bucs here week in and week out, no matter what. You're not going to be able to avoid it. And so I think Devin White is going to get a benefit from that. Whether you want to see him win or fail, you're going to be watching the Bucs. Kind of like the Patriots. Like Patriots defensive players will get more spotlight because you wanted the Patriots to fail so bad that everybody was watching the Patriots. And I think the Bucs have now hit that because Tom Brady is their quarterback. And I think Devin White's going to benefit from that. Not that anybody made a bad pick, because I could see any one of those guys winning defensive player of the year. I just think it will be Devin White because I think he's going to have a monster year, and he may establish himself as the best linebacker in the game moving forward this year for the next foreseeable future, next couple of years, 3 to 4 or 5 years. So I think being the best linebacker in the game would be that would mean a lot. And so to establish yourself, I think at the end of the season, everybody would possibly be looking they would be looking at Devin White as defensive player of the year. So Dad, I know you got to go. So real quick, just give me your MVP before you go.
I think you guys know who I'm going to pick. It's Patrick Mahomes in a runaway until somebody proves otherwise. I just think it's going to be, I don't know, because he puts up big numbers every year. Josh Allen might get it, but I think he's just on a revenge tour where he puts up 2018 type numbers. I could see in it, extra game, maybe 50 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. So I'm going Pat with Mahomes. Their offense is unstoppable. They retooled that O-line with some young guys that are very good. Orlando Brown was a steal. Joe Tooney was the Patriots' best offensive lineman, and now they're with the Chiefs. So I think that offense will take off. And since I'm about to leave, I'll spoil it a little bit. That was going to be my Super Bowl prediction too. He's taking it all, Super Bowl, MVP, all that. So yeah, Patrick Mahomes is my guy.
Well, 100%. Well, I appreciate you for coming in, bro. Y'all make sure to catch out Dad throughout the year. He's got a show coming out with Stu. Check him and Jelani out, What the Game Means to Me. Dad, we'll holler at you later, bro.
Appreciate it, bro. Go Oregon and go Bucks.
Yeah, I think he said it backwards, but it's fine.
Yeah. If he would have said it backwards, hey, he would have
been right. He said go Bucks. I heard him say it.
Yeah, so he's rooting for Ohio State. So Jeff,
obviously,
we'll swing over. Actually, JP, we'll start with you. MVP. Who's your MVP?
Man, I was thinking Patrick Mahomes. He's going to have that revenge tour season. There's 3 of them I'm thinking about. I'm thinking Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen was another one because I feel like Buffalo's going to have a really good year. Matthew Stafford for the Rams, with the weapons he had, with the weapons he got around him, he might make an MVP. He might have some numbers to get into the MVP discussions. He can put up numbers, but he just never had weapons around him. And then finally with the Rams and how they stacked up and everything, might be a Super Bowl prediction. He could possibly be in that top 3, 4 MVP. But if I had to choose one, I'm thinking Patrick Mahomes. He's going to put up the numbers. He's the best player in the league. He's going to throw the football. He's going to run the football. They got weapons around him. Offensive line improved. I feel like it's going to be Patrick Mahomes and anybody else that wants to join them until they beat them. So Patrick Mahomes.
Couch coach. I'm sorry. No, let me go with Jeff. My bad. Jeff, who you going with MVP?
I'm sticking with I'm like Thad, but I'm going with I think it's the Josh Allen year. I just think everything's just laid out in front of him. You know, just everything I said about winning the Offensive Player of the Year. I think the team's going to be really good. I mean, their schedule is one of the most. I never call it a weak schedule. There's no easy NFL games, but it's favorable, and I think he wins enough games. I think Mahomes realizes now. I actually think he takes a step back, but on purpose, realizes now that it's about winning the Super Bowl and not about, you know, maybe some other things. I think him and Reed will both be on the same page with that. So I think his stats come down. His efficiency is just fine. He has a great season, but I think Josh Allen's going to have a monster season and have a very successful team season. MVP, Josh Allen.
Yeah, I do smell something in the air that just says this is year of the Josh Allen. Like, it just seems like everything is just year of the Josh Allen. He is one of the top 5 quarterbacks. Couch coach, MVP.
Josh Allen. Once again, the thing with Patrick Mahomes is, I think we're getting to a point where we're taking advantage, not taking advantage, but we're taking him for granted. We used to get it from that point.
Your mic's a little low, Coach.
Low, Coach.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. So Josh Allen. So Josh Allen. I think what's going on now, I think people take Patrick Mahomes for granted. Because I think if he don't put it any more than 50 touchdowns a season, it's almost like it's a failure in a weird way. But because like what Thad was saying, if he doesn't put up 2018 numbers, then it's almost like, even though in most cases, if he puts up 49 touchdowns or whatever, that should be MVP. That should be MVP regardless of anything. But I think it's the other thing, just him overachieving to his detriment potentially. But like I said, I think it's Buffalo's year, and mine's solely based on their success in the regular season, because I think I got them 13-4, some of that nature, which nearly the same as how they were this year. But, obviously with the extra game. But, yeah, I definitely think it's going to be Josh Allen's MVP to win this season.
Kenneth, MVP.
I'm going to go with a guy that is a bit of an outside pick, but I really like Kyler Murray this year. I really think that he's going to get it done. The Couch Coach says he sees them winning 9 games, whereas I'm closer to the 10 or 11 mark with them. And I think this is a big prove-it year just for Arizona in general. When I'm looking at Arizona, you've got Kingsbury coaching for his job. They brought in a lot of one-year guys like the J.J. Watts and the A.J. Greens and all those guys. Kyler's in year 3. I see him really having that Lamar Jackson type year where it's like, wow, look at that play he made on Sunday with his legs, and then he rolled out and he hit D-hop deep. Like, I just think he's going to have so many of those plays throughout the year. It's going to boost his stock as far as MVP goes. And I think they're going to get to 11 wins because I'm a lot higher on them than a lot of people. So that's why I picked Kyler to win MVP this year.
Nice. Not a bad pick. I could see it. I mean, Kyler Murray does it with his leg. We expect him to take that jump. He has the weapons. I just think, like, I'm with Couch Coach. I just don't think they're going to be good enough. I'm not high on Arizona. I mean, I think they're a good team. I'll
die on the Arizona Hill this year. That's my NFC die on the hill team. So I don't care if it's just me up there. Me and DeAndre Hopkins. We're going to be chilling.
And I know saying a team winning 9 games as opposed to 10 or 11 is not the biggest difference. But when it comes to like playoff, like 1 or 2 games is a big difference when it comes to playoff seeding and stuff like that. But a team that wins 9 games as opposed to 10, like, is that 10-win team that much better than that 9-win team? Not necessarily, but you can miss out on a playoff spot, especially this year with that extra game being 9-8. Like, may not get the job done. 10-7 could be like you're depending on tiebreakers. Like, that's
they're the 4th best team in their division right now, no matter how good they are. I mean, starting the season, they're the 4th best team.
I'll bite my tongue on that one.
This is why me and Jeff
they're the third best team in their division at best, starting week 1 at best. Nobody can argue that. They're not better than San Francisco.
The Rams or San Francisco,
They're not better than Seattle. I'm sorry.
But I could see where they could. I could see if halfway through the season they're better in Seattle, I would totally buy that, because I think Seattle could crumble. Like, they're just one of those teams. They're like Pittsburgh last year. I could just see the wheels coming off. But starting the season, they're at least 3rd in their division. That doesn't. It's not a death sentence with the extra wild card, but it's still more than you want to do. It's more than some of these other divisions.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the Packers don't have it that hard. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true. So MVP, I'm gonna go out on the limb here, and I may be really reaching. I'm gonna go Tom Brady. I'm gonna go Tom Brady, and I may really be reaching. I may be nobody will buy in, but he finally has a full year, his second year in the offense, a full offseason, acquainted really well with his weapons. He's coming off a Super Bowl year, and he hasn't won an MVP in what was it 2015, 16? I don't want to get that wrong, but
it might have been 1980. I don't know. The guy's been playing for so long. I really honestly have lost track of how long he's been playing.
But I think that's gonna come to his benefit. I think this Bucs offense is gonna be great. I think Tom Brady has the juice, and everybody says like Tom Brady started off slow last year. That offense did start off slow. Tom Brady still threw for 4,300 yards last year. He still threw for 30 plus touchdowns. I think he will up the score on that. I think Tom Brady will throw somewhere in between the 47 and 4,800 yards this year. And
2017 was when he last won.
2017. So he's not even 4 years removed. So that's a while, but it's not necessarily a long time for as long as he's played. So I think it's about that time that I think Tom Brady we don't know when he's going to retire. He may play 2 years. He may play 3 years. This may be his last year. But I think it's about that time where like he gets the Lifetime Achievement Award. I think he throws for about 47, 4,800 yards. I don't think he gets off to the slow start that he did last year. So I think that ups about another 200 to 300 yards. And I think they have an extra game. So give him another 200 to 300 yards. I think that puts him from 43 to about 4,800. And I think he goes for about 44 to 47 touchdowns. I know that's a lot, but their running game is not as strong as everybody thinks. Like Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette are feasible because of what the offense, because of what the receivers are, because of what they have at tight end, and because of who they have at quarterback and the good offensive line. That's a feasible running.
Why am I the only one that thinks Leonard Fournette's all right? I miss when Leonard Fournette, like, is he that bad? Am I missing something?
I don't think he's the long term. Like, I don't think like him and Ronald Jones are a feasible 1-2 punch, but like I just don't think for a whole season like they're doing damage. I wouldn't be surprised if neither one of them got 1,000 yards. I know fine for over 1,000 yards, but I wouldn't be surprised if neither one of them were at the 1,000-yard mark. And I think this year, like, they're going to beat teams through the air. I really do. He's like, why would you have Tom Brady and all those weapons? Do you have all those weapons to ground and win the game in the trenches? I don't think so. Like, I think, and Tom Brady he still threw. I don't remember the exact number, but Tom Brady had a really good year last year. Like, he still threw for almost 40 touchdowns. If he didn't throw for 40 touchdowns last year, threw for like 4,300 yards. So to say that one more game and not starting off at the slow start, 4,800 yards and about 43 to 47. I'll probably go the latter and go like 43. But 43 touchdowns, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. And the Bucs being 15-2, 14-3 with those stats, I mean, I could see him getting MVP.
And you would think if he put up those numbers, and he's 44 years old, and I talked about it on my show, and I'm like, this man might play till he's 50 years old. I mean, if Father Time allows it, potentially, I'm like, because there's no drop off, and that's spooky.
He might be the first quarterback wearing reading glasses out there.
Correct.
Take it from a 46-year-old. Like, you can't fight Father Time. I can tell you that right now.
You got an upstairs and a downstairs set of glasses.
So let me even revert back. I'm going to go even further on this. So hold on. Tom Brady hits 5,000 yards this year, and he throws for 47 to 50 touchdowns. Last year, Cruz. No, listen to me. Hear me out now. They started off slow. We were looking at the offense. They're a little shaky. Tom Brady throws for 4,600 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions last year. Those were his regular season stats. I thought it was 4,300. last year started off slow, no offseason, had to get with his receivers throughout the season, create a rapport with his receivers. He throws for 4,600 yards and 40 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. To think that I think this offense is going to be just as high octane, if not more, and a little bit better. They don't have these weapons. They didn't bring AB back. They didn't bring Gronk back. They don't have Mike Evans and Godwin. They don't have OJ Howard and Cameron Brate as the other two tight ends to run and pound the ball. So to say with an extra game, if Tom Brady does what he did last year with an extra game, if he has a big game, he gets 5,000. So I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
I can't doubt him at this point. It'd be crazy too.
But I'm just like, if that happens, I'm eating avocado ice cream every single day for the rest of my life.
I'm done with strawberries forever.
Facts. I'm getting avocado ice cream tonight.
I tell you, if this happens, that just makes me sick to think about.
Still, I do think, I know, Kenneth, you got to go here in a minute, but I do think that with what he put up last year, and we do look like, I think we can all agree, like the Bucs started off slow, Tom Brady started off slow. We were looking like, oh my God, he still put up 4,600 yards and 40 touchdowns and 12 picks. You add an extra game with that production, you add an extra game, and we're at 48 to 4,900 yards already. We're not even talking about a slow start. We have 48, 4,900 yards with a 7.
But by your argument, where does that put Josh Allen Mahomes at? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not the only guy that gets an extra game.
Right, but what I'm saying is I think Tom Brady will get – and age will play a factor. Like, I think age will play a factor for Tom Brady. Like, I think that'll matter when arguing MVP. It'll be the same type of argument had LeBron never got hurt. Like, you know, his MVPs later on in the season. That's what I'm saying. Like, they use the age, like what he's doing at this age is very impressive. And so I think it's a possibility. I'm just saying, you know, don't kill the messenger. I'm going with Tom Brady. My guess is he probably finished like top 5 last year. I mean, I don't think you're, you know. But I think it's a possibility, like him being top 5. And yes, he's not the only one with the extra game, but the Bucs, like, he's going to make a strong case. If he puts up the production he put up last year, he is going to make a strong case just like everybody else. But the Bucs might be the number 1 team in the NFL, let alone they'll probably be the number 1 team in the NFC. That could matter. Or he could put up equivalent numbers of Mahomes and Josh Allen, and they're just on the young train. But I think this will start being like the world is preparing to send Tom Brady off. He played great. He's old. Give him the MVP. He may win an 8th Super Bowl. Like, you know, you never know. Like, that's very possible. Like, I don't want to see it happen, but I mean, Tom Brady played out of his mind last year. Like, he really did. But people weren't realizing it because they started off slow and we were giving the credit to the defense and things like that. But Tom Brady offensively played out of his mind, especially for a guy his age. So that's just me. Don't shoot the messenger. I mean, he had 2 more passing touchdowns.
I mean, to be fair, you're the messenger.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger. I am the messenger.
I got you.
So I want to move on. Kenneth, do you have to bounce?
Yeah.
All right, so before you bounce, we'll start with you. Just give us your coach of the year.
Coach of the year for me is a team in the AFC that I think is going to be really improved, a team that lost a lot of close games last year and I think could make a push for the final spot in the AFC playoff race. So I'm going to go Brandon Staley because I think the Chargers are going to snag that 7 spot. I think Herbert's going to have a big year. They have Eckler coming back, defense much improved. I just see them going from being a pretty below average AFC team to being a playoff team. And I don't know many other teams that are going to be able to pull that off this year. So I think just based off of that, him coming in and having a big year, and I'll give you my Super Bowl as well while I have you on here. I'm going to stick with the one that I said on the Shooters Shoot Sports podcast. Green Bay's making it from the NFC. I think Cleveland's going to make it from the AFC. I don't think either of them are going to knock off Kansas City or Tampa Bay. I think there's going to be another team that does the heavy lifting to knock them out. And so I'm going to go Green Bay over Cleveland in the Super Bowl because I don't think either team is built to beat those teams, but I think there are teams in their conferences that are built to beat them.
Wow. So
that will set the Midwest on fire if that happens. Let me tell you, I won't come out of my house for days.
Wow. We will have a Super Bowl preview on Christmas Day. Ooh. I'm ready to pour some eggnog in my cup right now.
Hey,
Oh, goodness.
My
Credit-
I already said Kyler for
I
MVP.
cannot wait.
I'm already
Credit-
off the rails. Like, it's
Credit to
something.
our naive Canadian friend for picking the Browns to go to the Super Bowl.
I love good storylines.
So Kenneth, I appreciate you for coming on, stepping out as we're closing the show. We'll get on our Coach of the Year and Super Bowl predictions, but y'all make sure you go check them out at Breaking the Game. And what is Bets on Bets on Bets?
Bets on Bets on Bets this Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Pat and I are getting up early. We've got the Prez on for the opening episode of Bets on Bets on Bets. We're going to be tracking it all year long. Going to be a ton of fun. And go check out my bookie once again. Use promo code Off the Ball in all caps. Phenomenal sponsor that we have over there. And that's where we're going to have all of our betting lines from.
Nice.
Yeah, so make sure y'all go check that out. Kenneth, I appreciate you for tuning in or joining in. Hopefully you can tune in for the rest of the show.
Naive Canadian out.
See you, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so Couch Coach, we'll go to you. Coach of the Year.
Actually, Kenneth, perfect example. Brandon Staley is a branch of my Coach of the Year, Sean McVay, as the tree. Sean McVay, he's the branch of the coaching tree for Sean McVay. I think I got the Rams at either 13-4, I think. So it's predicated on that. I think he's gonna he's kind of one of those guys, someone on the hot seat, but not like a bit make or break year for him. But I think this could be a good year for him. Now he has a quarterback. This is probably the best quarterback he's had since Kirk Cousins. JP. I mean, I'm just saying. But I'm just saying. I just think everything's gonna come into play. He has a legitimate quarterback that he has in Matthew Stafford. So yeah, Sean McVay is gonna be the Coach of the Year.
That I don't know. I don't see that one. I don't see McVay getting the credit for the improvement. I feel like the improvement of the Rams. I think Stafford would get more of a credit in an MVP case than McVay would get in a Coach of the Year. I think so, only because when I say that, like I just think when I watch when I'm going to watch the Rams this year, like we know what McVay is, we know the offense, but I think like if they do improve and they are a lot better, I think Matt Stafford is going to get a lot of that credit, and it'll work better if he has the numbers for his MVP case than it will be for Sean McVay. He's already been to a Super Bowl. Like we kind of know what he could do, and Coach of the Year would like to give it the up and coming, but I won't be surprised. Like I'm not down, but I just think for what you're saying, I think like Stafford, I think that'll be like the same case for MVP. Jeff, who got his Coach of the Year?
I think it's Kyle Shanahan. I think they're back. I think it'll be everything. He's going to have a good team. He's going to get credit for bringing a team back from a subpar season, all the injury concern. He's going to have to handle the quarterback situation. So if both quarterbacks succeed, he's going to get credit for that. And I think the defense can be really good. I predict. So I think Shanahan gets coach. I think all he has to do is get a wild card spot, and I think he can get Coach of the Year.
That's pretty solid. Shout out to our guy Cruz. Wasn't able to make it tonight. Long days at work, but that's what he does, protecting our country. Of course, we got you though, and we protect you here at the network. Cruz, so JP, Coach of the Year.
Tough, man. That's a tough one, man. That's a good pick of the Shanahan pick, Sean McVay. I think when the Rams is going to improve, but it's going to be up to Matthew Stafford. I feel like he'll get more credit than the coach, because Sean McVay is a good coach. I like Brandon Staley. I feel like that defense is going to improve so much with him, with that team. Justin Herbert's going to have an incredible year after winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think the weapons around him going to be it's going to be tremendous. I feel like the Chargers are a very sleeping team that you'll have to watch out for, especially come playoff time. I feel like they got, the weapons they need, and the defense will improve with Bosa leading the charge on the line. So I feel like Brandon Staley is going to really help that Chargers team to get up there, to be one of the best teams in the AFC and in the NFL. So we'll go Brandon Staley.
Yeah, I can see it, and the whole Chargers situation upsets me because I think even if he does get it, I don't like that Anthony Lynn got a lot of the blame and then Staley's going to get a lot of the praise for a team coming back healthy. Like, that's all it is. Like, the Chargers are a good team, and they're coming back healthy. Anthony Lynn, yes, granted, he was on the hot seat, and they go 9 and they lose some close games, but they were missing, like, almost every playmaker they had, not named Keenan Allen or Justin Herbert. Like, they were hurt everywhere on the defensive side of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball. So I think, like Brandon, I think he's going to get too much credit for the Chargers improving because I don't think the improvement is going to be about the coaching change. I think it's going to be about health. Like, I think the Chargers would be a lot better with Anthony Lynn this year just coming back healthy. So I think he's going to get a little too much credit, but I don't think it's out of the realm. Like, I think it's a possibility. I think he's going to get a lot of the credit.
And all you got to do is finish games. And that's really the issue. That's right. If he can finish games, yeah, he's a shoo-in because the team is talented. It's just they just can never, for the last 2 years, well, I don't even remember. It's been decades.
2 decades.
They've had situations where they just can't close out games. Yeah. That's their issue. If they can close out games, I mean, yeah, they're good. They're a good football team. It's just the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And that's true. And that's why I say, like, the Chargers, with all the injuries and stuff, and I know but they were within one possession of, a certain play going a certain way, and they win those games. So I think Anthony Lynn got a lot of the blame. You had to have a cop-out. And with Justin Herbert, like, it wasn't a quarterback problem. He had one of the greatest rookie years, if not the greatest rookie year we've ever seen. So the problem wasn't at quarterback. My coach of the year, I'm going the guy, he prevails this year. He finished in second place last year. I'm going Sean McDermott. I'm with Jeff on, like, I am with him on the Josh Allen. And it seems like a real Buffalo Bills year this year. Like, it seems like the spotlight is just going to be on Buffalo. I think Josh Allen is going to set it off. Sean McDermott came in second last year. Obviously, he lost to Stefanski because of, the crazy improvement that the Browns had. Like, whoever led the Browns to the playoffs was getting coach of the year because, Lord knows we know how incredible of a story that is. So,
yeah, you can't deny that.
I think the Bills have a shot at having the best record in the AFC. I'm not saying they will, but they do have a shot. It may be a little bit tougher road than the Chiefs, but I just think he finished second, and so I think he'll prevail, finish first. It just something screams Buffalo Bills, and not all the way to the Super Bowl, but just going into the playoffs. Like, something just tells me the Buffalo Bills are going to have one of the better defenses. We know that personnel-wise they should. They're going to have one of the hotter offenses going into the playoffs. Sean McDermott, like, the Bills going into playoffs are going to be even like last year, but I think more solidified as one of the two best teams in the AFC. We saw a scenario where if they got the right matchup, like, we weren't fully sold on the Bills until they got there. So now that they got there, like, I think everybody's fully sold. Like, it's either, if it's not Kansas City, it's going to be Buffalo. So I got to go with Sean McDermott. I just think whether they improve or not, I think they will improve, but just them being a really great team and Sean McDermott being the head coach and the guy that makes those things happen, I think he wins, especially coming at second, where he would have won last year if it wasn't for Stefanski being the coach of the making the playoffs. Like, it's not, I'm not like, but I'm saying, like, Stefanski got it because he was the coach of the Browns and they made the playoffs. Like, he deserved it. But I'm just saying, like, any other year, like, Sean McDermott wins it. He doesn't come in second to any one of those other coaches who had successful years, Bruce Arians, Andy Reid, and none of those guys. But because a guy brought, improved the Browns the way they did, he rightfully won it. So, guys, we're ending out to the end of our show. JP, I'm gonna start with you. Super Bowl predictions.
Tough, man. I got the Rams coming up the NFC. I feel like the Bucs won't make it this time, but they might be close. But the Rams, I like that team. I think they'll be the best team in the NFC. In the AFC, there's so many. The Titans, the Browns, Kansas City. I feel like it's going to be Kansas City again. I just feel like Mahomes is going to have one of those years. I'm going to have him over Buffalo going into the Super Bowl. Even though I like Buffalo, I just feel like Kansas City might go back there again. I feel like Mahomes is going to take them. He's going to win MVP. The weapons they have around them, the offensive line improved. The defense is all right, but I feel like that offense is just unloaded, and anyway, got something up his sleeve. So I'm gonna have the Chiefs versus the Rams, and I'm going to say it's probably going to be the Rams winning it this year.
There you go.
Big buy into Matt Stafford. Big buy into Matt Stafford. Jeff,
I'm thinking
predictions.
For everything great I said about the Buffalo Bills, just to touch on that, I didn't know the exact numbers. If you go look at the Bills' schedule, they only have maybe 3 games to where it'll be within like maybe a field goal spread. I mean, their schedule really, they could lose the 4 hardest games on their schedule. They're still 13-4. They got a really nice schedule. That being said, I still think the Chiefs run it back. I think the Chiefs get back there again. Things went perfectly wrong last year for them. I think they can cure that. I do believe in the Rams also. I got the Chiefs over the Rams in this year's Super Bowl.
Wow, Jeff. Way to spoil Mo's Super Bowl predictions. Couch Coach, Super Bowl predictions, who you going with?
Oh my God, I think we all got the same one. I got the Rams coming out of the NFC. They have 2 hard victories over the Washington football team in the divisional, and then they'll beat. What? Why are you laughing, Jeff?
I'm not. Hey, I
had to put it in there, right?
I'll say that about the Washington football team. Nobody's getting an easy victory against that defense. That's very true.
It's a hard-fought victory against Washington divisional round, and then they'll beat Tampa Bay, and they'll host a Super Bowl, and they'll play the AFC champion, the Kansas City Chiefs, and I actually got the Chiefs running it back.
So I'm right there. I'm right there with Jeff and Couch Coach. We're all high on the Rams.
Yeah,
that is the very
which means we're all wrong. There ain't no way we can.
Exactly.
You guys know that's not how it goes.
So we're all high on the Rams. So I'm going to stick to my Super Bowl pick, and I'm going to go the Chiefs, and I'm going to go the Rams, and I'm going to go the Chiefs win it. And it's one of the greatest games played of this past decade was played between these 2 teams on a Monday night.
Ooh.
Game was to take place in Mexico City. Game didn't take place in Mexico City. It took place in sunny Los Angeles when everything was on fire. Everything was on fire, and it took place.
Yep.
I think the final score was 51-47.
Yeah. It was a hot game, yeah.
The offenses are about just as lethal, very similar. Matt Stafford, I think, is a little more lethal than Jared Goff. They don't have Todd Gurley on the offensive end, but this is an aired-out league anyway, and they have Matt Stafford to air it out. So I think this is a high-scoring affair. I know the Rams defense will, but this isn't the same offensive line for the Chiefs. We expect them to come in healthy. So I'm taking the Chiefs in a close one. And this isn't like the official score, but the type of game I think it's going to be, I got the Chiefs taking it over the Rams in a 38-34 essentially a shootout in the Super Bowl. We saw a blowout last year. We saw not really a shootout, but an exciting Super Bowl prior when the 49ers played the Chiefs. And then even the year before, we saw probably one of the most boring Super Bowls I've ever watched. There was literally one of the worst Super Bowls I've ever watched in the 10-3 Super Bowl with the Rams and the Patriots. And so I think this year, no matter who it is, and I think it's going to be the Chiefs or Bills, and I think it's going to be the Rams or the Bucks. Like, I think your pick in Cleveland will be my third team, but I think it's the Chiefs or Bills, Rams or Bucks. Those are my conference championship matchups. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the Rams in a 38-34, pretty much shootout, especially for a Super Bowl. And Patrick Mahomes, another Super Bowl MVP, and he's on the trajectory to become the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm not saying he does, but I'm saying storyline matters, and he gets that second Super Bowl MVP on top of an MVP already, Super Bowl appearances. That's going to matter. That's going to hold some weight, knowing that he's got another, 10 to 15 years of we would expect being a great starting quarterback, just based on the way really great quarterbacks' careers are going. Like, he has another 10 to 15 years minus any major injury. So I think Mahomes is able to win it, and I think the Chiefs quietly slide into the Super Bowl, if that makes sense. Like, I think Cleveland's going to be really great, and we're going to talk about them. I think Buffalo's going to be really great, and it's a Josh Allen year, possible offensive player of the year or MVP, Sean McDermott, Coach of the Year. Like, I think those teams are going to make the noise, and Kansas City's just going to do kind of what they did last year. Like, they just under the radar won almost every game last year. They just under the radar went 14-2. You were talking about the Bucks and Brady and all these other teams, and like you just forgot the fact that the Chiefs just kept winning, like because they were playing in close games and struggled with the Raiders. We talked about that, but they just quietly went 14-2. So I think they quietly slide into the Super Bowl and make some noise and win a championship and prove all the doubters or whoever thinks Mahomes is figured out. I'm hearing this, and the Chiefs, reign is over, and Andy Reid is at this. I think all that gets put to rest, and the Chiefs, shut it down and win the Super Bowl. So, fellas, I appreciate y'all for jumping on. I know JP, I appreciate you for coming in when you were done doing what you were doing. Jeff, I appreciate you. I'm going to get off this show and check out your 15 minutes on the Hard Knocks with AB. Definitely want to check that out. I've watched it every week. Couch Coach, obviously, I appreciate you for coming on. Bro, we had a heck of a show. Kenneth and Dad, I'm glad they got on. Yeah. So we'll start with you, Jeff, on the way out the door. Tell people where they can find you in any future projects.
Yeah. Just it's football season. Things are lit up. I'm Jeff Needs Sports. You can find my subsidiaries. I got the Buckeye Remix. I just started putting out the college football rankings, playoff rankings weekly. It's a distinction. It's the playoff rankings, not the rankings. I don't, if you score a field goal, I don't necessarily think you're the best team in the country. That's a different discussion. And I do the Buckeye Remix every week after the Buckeyes game. I kind of run it back and talk about it and have a little fun with that. And then, of course, working with these fine gentlemen throughout the week and throughout the season on different things that we do for offtheballnetwork.com. So things are really rolling right now. And as of, it's football season. It's here, guys. It's here. There's no rest from now until March. So I'm ready.
Yeah, essentially. And when Jeff says that, he means that this is the time, we blowing this year, because from here until at least March, like when football season's done and then it's all basketball. But from these days, there is no rest. You're going to see a lot of us on each other's shows on the daily. See You Sunday returns. So, Couch Coach, I just want to make the announcement for you before we listen. See You Sunday returns this Saturday. For those that were following us last year, that is big time. That was our show. That is Couch Coach. And our very own Couch Coach is Stephen Gillespie's baby. Black Polo Gang. Get ready for Sunday. Talk about the next Thursday. So, Couch Coach, plug your stuff and let everybody know.
Yeah, so as we mentioned earlier, See You Sunday will debut that on this Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be previewing the top matchups of the week. We'll do picks, and we'll actually go through just power rankings like we did last year as well. So we'll do that. Yeah, like you said, it's a bevy of things going on. Friday nights, we got Watch the Football guys. Me and my guy Rob, Football and Chill. We're here. We doing post-game show after Watch the Football wins and losses, but primarily it's going to be wins this year. And then Couch Coach Live Tuesdays, and then Overreaction Monday starts on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, like you said, no rest for the weary. February 14th, after I was all said and done with, I might, jump on some shows that day, but I think February 15th, I need to be on the island somewhere and just take a break. February 15th is going to be like my vacation.
So to put that out there, though, we said that last year. Jeff said it. Couch Coach said it. That after the Super Bowl, they swore they were checking out. Hey, a couple weeks. I just need a couple weeks. I'm taking a break. Jeff was on the show every day a week straight. After he said that, Couch Coach made like 5 appearances in a week. After he said, you know what, I'm taking my break. So hopefully this time it'll be a break well deserved, and we actually, jump in and take that break. But to put in perspective, like these two said that, oh yeah, I'm taking a break. Hey, for a couple weeks, I'm probably doing nothing. No. And then a week straight, you see Jeff, and a week straight, you see Couch Coach. And it's like, all right, what break? They're like, yeah, I'll take 2 days off, and now I'm back at it. Like,
and one more quick announcement. I forgot. I have the premiere of the Couch Coach Live simulated NFL season coming up soon. It is wild. It is fun.
You got to explain stuff.
Yeah. We'll have a show about it. We're going to explain it, but it is in the oven. It's cooking. Coach has already got a preview of it. It was an awesome thing he did. And once we break it down, I think people will really appreciate what we did. But look for that Couch Coach Live simulated season coming soon.
Yeah.
I definitely can't wait. So,
Fire, straight fire.
JP, any plugins, anything you got going?
Man, y'all can catch me on YouTube on Off the Ball Network. I just did a week 1 of college football recap. I'm thinking about doing that every single week, and then also catching reaction videos of different NFL games. So just catch me on YouTube, Off the Ball Network. Also on my YouTube channel, it's just JP with a Z. Just did a Larry Bird video that had over 2,000 views. So we're just trying to grow that channel too as well. And also the 2K League post-game show on September 25th for the All-Star game. Hopefully we got that post-game show and I'll be hosting it. So those are my future projects. But other than that, you can catch me on Twitter, JP Franchise 57. And, hey, I'll start debating and start doing stuff. So just catch me wherever I'm at.
The franchise.
The franchise.
Yeah.
He's been one of the clutchest guys of all time.
Yeah.
We won't say it live on it, but he knows why. He knows why. He took a big burden off of me and Chris. And I'm forever grateful for that one. I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, y'all can find me at Up in Flames Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Mo_Cheese15. I want everybody who listens and please give a listen to my most recent episode. I went solo for the first time since I started doing a podcast. And I'm going to be honest. I did a solo show today. It's out on YouTube. It's out. Just got put out a couple hours prior to this. This is the first time I went full solo show since probably my 4th or 5th episode ever. I did a full solo show, and you go back to my first 5 episodes, you'd be like, God, he was horrible. He had no future in this. Got some guests, always had these great gentlemen over the year beyond, and was able. So I did put out my first solo show. I feel really good about it. So anybody who tunes in, check it out. Give me some honest feedback. If you think like, hey, you're not a solo guy, that's okay. I jumped out on the limb, felt like I've done enough work, established enough credit that I could do some solo stuff. So if you think that's not it for me and I need to grab a guest every week, let me know. If you think I did a good job, you did a good job, but I want to hear all criticism. So I appreciate all the listeners. Make sure you tune in and tell me what you think about that. I feel really good today about doing the solo show. I haven't done it. I've been wanting to do it. I always have stuff on my mind, but never plugged in the mic to do it by myself. But, Jeff has inspired me to do it. JP with the recaps have inspired me to do it. Jeff does his 15 minutes. He's been doing all this, his Buckeyes remix, his explaining his college football playoff rankings. And so I'm like, you know what? I got something to say, and then Stu inspired the whole thing because he put out his quarterback rankings and I had a lot to say. And I'm like, you know what? Let me make a show. It wasn't a kill Stu's list or anything, but ESPN does it. They get their content by using their people's rankings and position rank. So I'm like, shed light on Stu's rankings and stuff. And I had some thoughts about it. So I just sat in the mic and did my thing. So I want everybody to check it out. Give me honest feedback. Make sure you go to offtheballnetwork.com for all your sports needs and entertainment. Go to our sponsors, mybookie.ag. Football starts tomorrow. Get your bets in. They give you 50% up to $1,000. So make sure you use that. Scared money don't make no money. So bet big or go home. And on that note, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We appreciate everybody for listening. Off the Ball Network will catch you on Saturday for CU.